What up guys, today we're going to be reacting to Death Battles Goku versus Superman. This is their third time they're doing this fight. I know it just says Goku versus Superman, but it's not the first one. The first one came out in 2012 and the second one came out in 2016. I think this one's kind of pointless, this battle. I'm going to say they're going to have Superman winning it because they did say in the second one that he has infinite power, that he's unbeatable, he's not meant to be beaten and whatever. And by that statement alone, that should mean that no matter how powerful Goku gets or whichever version of Goku they use, he's not going to be able to beat him, because they did state that also, that no matter how powerful he gets, he's not going to be able to beat him. So there's no point of making a third one. But now they did, which is kind of stupid. So I see them going in that direction again, but maybe just using more feats for Superman this time, since they are using Infinite Frontier Superman, which is basically an amalgamation of all the other past versions of Superman, because now they're all canon. And they are using Dragon Ball Heroes Goku, I think either Xeno Goku or CC Goku, but it doesn't matter, like I said, because they've already made up their mind in the second video, second part, where they stated that no matter how powerful Goku gets, he's not going to be able to beat him. So I think that's the direction they're going to go with again. I don't agree with that. You guys already know my opinion on this. I don't think Superman is that powerful. I do think he's wanked quite a bit, but going based off their logic, that's the way I see it. Now, before I get into this video, I do want to apologize for not uploading for quite a while. I know it's been a month since I have made any videos. I am doing a big project, and I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. You guys are just going to have to wait to see what it is, and you guys, once when you see it, you're going to realize why it took me so long, because I've been doing research. I'm still doing research. I'm almost towards the end, so don't worry. I'm almost done with that. I'll start recording that video. I will actually separate it into multiple videos, because I think this project that I took under my, this idea that it took, I feel like it's a lot bigger than I expected at first. And yeah, it's taking a lot longer, so I'm going to be dropping out multiple parts to that, and I'm going to be recording it when I'm done fully doing my research, and I'm almost done with that. And when I start editing the video, it's going to take even longer, so I'm not going to be uploading it right away. The only reason I'm doing this video right now is because they dropped it out, and this is going to be definitely a big video. I was going to check it out when it first came out, but the problem with it was I was sick at that time. I'm still sick right now. You're going to see me coughing a little bit, but before I could barely talk and my nose was pretty runny, so I just couldn't make the video, so sorry for that also. But yeah, like I said, the other video is going to be coming out soon, so don't worry about it, and that's one of the reasons why I've been gone for so long, but I will be dropping that, multiple parts of that out soon. Now, before I get into it, I do want to give a big shout out to a couple new subscribers of mine, one by the name of Kenny Avirez, then The Clout, and then Daryl Bright, and finally Dante Jones. So big shout out to you guys for subscribing to the channel. It means a lot. Now, I know I've been rambling for quite a bit, so yeah, let's get into this video.
Tenacity, both of which strongly define Goku's character. The more he learned, the more he wanted to improve. This little low-class monkey boy copied into a single point for a devastating beam. So challenging, it took Roshi decades to master, but Goku got it in like 5 seconds. It's incredibly versatile, with over 50 different variations. For example, Goku can curve the beam after firing, or even shoot it from his feet. But unlike most Saiyans, he doesn't just use ki to blow shit up. Moves like the Solar Flare, Energy Landmine, and God Bind require a lot more strategy and planning. Because while Goku isn't exactly book smart, he is a genius when it comes to martial arts. He doesn't just train to conquer his opponents, but to conquer himself. He's also got some different moves, like trapping you in a rice cooker. Well, pretty much any container could be used for the Mothaba sealing technique. Then there's Kaioken, aka instant steroids. Goku's multiplied his power by 20 with it before, and in a movie, he even got it up to times 100. What a badass! The Genki Dama, or Spirit Bomb, is potentially his strongest attack, but it requires considerable time. Unlike instant transmission, which is a teleport that's instant. The way it works is Goku detects another person, like a sort of beacon, then teleports to their location by launching himself through an alternate dimension where time stands still. Yes, according to the Daisenshuu guidebook, it's a dimension hop. You can actually...
Okay, let's talk about that. I don't agree with that. That was in the Cooler, Revenge of the Cooler movie, where him and Cooler were both going to this timeless dimension and they were fighting in it and coming in and out. But every time we've seen it in the original, the anime and the manga, Goku just pops from one place to another instantly. You don't see him going through some dimensional stuff. I know it's stated in the Daizenshuu right there, but it could have been specifically just talking about the movie and the way the movie represented this version of the instant transmission. Normally, that isn't really the case on how it works. It's just regular teleportation itself.
Actually see this in between space in some movies and games. And the dubs wanted us to think it shot Goku's molecules around at light speed. Silly English. The dubs did more than that. Greatest of D, Dragon Ball's cosmology is unique. This model is said to be an accurate depiction of Universe 7, but there's a wrinkle there. When all of humanity went to heaven, because Boo went berserk, Videl commented that heaven is just as large as a universe, and the Daizenshuu backs her up. And that's heaven, big planet. So let's scale things up with that in mind. Doing so would make Universe 7 over 1,500 times larger than our own observable universe. And
okay, let's talk about that. They've stated countless times before that the Dragon Ball universe is 13 times bigger than ours. Is because they have the living universe, which is the size of our universe. Then they have these other dimensional, other dimensions and realities like heaven, the Grand Kai's planet, the star that revolves around heaven itself, the afterlife, which houses all those other celestial objects in it. So it's well bigger than our universe because it has multiple different dimensions and realities on top of it. So it makes it bigger than ours. The 13 times, I don't know where they got that specific number itself. They never really specified how big most of the celestial objects in the Dragon Ball cosmology is, but we do know it is well bigger than ours. But is it 1,500 times bigger? I don't really think so. I don't know where they got that ridiculous number from, because even if we do estimate it pretty high and say go with all these dimensions that are, universe size and some of them roughly universe size, it still wouldn't equate to that much bigger. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. And how do they go from 13 times to 1,500 times? They've been stating that 13 times thing for quite a while now. This feat has been shown and been around for quite a while now, but now they've changed it to even higher. It's like they got new additional information. They should have known this from the beginning. So that's a little weird for me personally that they just got to jump. Maybe they want to, elevate his power so it's more even for Goku against, Superman. But I do think it's a little ridiculous. I don't really agree with that.
Goku could destroy that much the first time he went God. And he didn't lose that power. He learned how to use it even better, even in base form. Now, imagine how much stronger he became when he stacked Super Saiyan on Super Saiyan God and became Super Saiyan Blue. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. Yeah, not saying that. Or after he trained with some almighty angels. Or when he perfected the blue hairdo and stacked Kaioken on top of that. Goku has certainly performed great feats with God Ki, breaking through Hit's time stop by forcing himself into the future, holding off Infinite Zamasu, who was a sentient timeline, defeating Jiren, who shook the entire world of Void by just walking. He even tried out Hakai, the destruction god move that nopes you out of existence, your being and your soul erased from all of time and space, culminating in his greatest form, Ultra Instinct. Chrome Goku isn't a normal transformation, it's a state of mind. Ultra Instinct is the highest peak of martial arts, subconsciously making optimal choices because you're in the zone. Doing without thinking. Something Goku has always been training to do. Technically, it can be used in any form, but when perfected, Autonomous Ultra Instinct makes you untouchable. No matter what comes his way, Goku will automatically dodge, block, and counter to the best of his ability, even pushing his body well beyond his physical limits. So far beyond, in fact, Ultra Instinct can summon a massive avatar to defend him when his own body can't. That sounds really intense! It is, which is why he's developed incremental versions of it for specific uses. It's extremely difficult to maintain the full form for long. Until you get to Dragon Ball Heroes, aka Dragon Ball fanfiction gone Kaioken times 1,000. While technically a different continuity, CC Goku is functionally a stand-in for the mainline Goku. His history and powers are the same, making his story just as much of a what-if scenario as the multiple super continuities. The only real difference is Toriyama's not really involved. This Goku used instant transmission to teleport through time and dimensions. He outsped a god who could see the future. He defeated Dark King Fu, who was gonna rewrite the entire universe. Hell, this series even makes GT cool. Xeno Goku can break space-time just by going Super Saiyan 4.
And subconsciously developed mental blocks, severing him from his true power, which he would uncover throughout his life.
He's strong enough to shoulder press the weight of the earth for 5 days straight, or crush coal into perfectly cut diamond.
That's not how that works.
He's fast enough to reach the edge of the universe in seconds, or even break the bonds of infinity. Wait, he can do all that, but Batman can punch him out? Really?
You're probably thinking of Elseworld stories outside main canon like Dark Knight Returns. It's a good question though. Superman's powers have fluctuated over time for a variety of reasons. However, for Death Battle, we take the characters at their best.
Yeah, like how his breath is so powerful he can sneeze away a solar system, or blow air cold enough to freeze ghosts.
Speaking of, his X-ray vision doesn't just see through walls, he can see through your own body and mind to examine your soul.
And yet, he can't see through lead. That's okay.
I'll stop it there because there's a couple things that they talked about I think that's interesting. First, the speed. They stated that he was able to go so fast that he was able to go to the edge of the universe within a couple of seconds, and then even faster by going out of the bounds of, infinity, basically making him have infinite speed. Now, I'm not trying to disagree with, his speed feats, but the thing that you guys need to take into consideration when it comes to speed, and I've mentioned this countless times on this channel, and you guys probably heard this on other channels before, is the fact that speed, when you're talking about it in a fight, it's a little bit different than, just going from one place to another. Fighting speed, like combat speed and travel speed, are two different things. Some people say they're the same and there's no real difference. I do not agree with that. I think combat speed and travel speed are two different things, because travel speed is just about how fast you're able to go from one place to another. So it's basically distance measured by time. So how fast you're able to go a certain amount of distance in a certain amount of time, that's how fast you are. Whereas in combat, it's a little bit more complex. It's about, how fast you can throw punches, kicks, elbows, block, bob and weave, dodge and stuff. And with the superhero stuff, they can go astronomical amount of distance, moving throughout their speed and stuff. But speed in combat is a lot more complex than a regular speed. Because if you look at regular speed, let's say running track and shit, compared to martial arts, track is very straightforward. It's just basically conditioning and running in one path, whereas combat, it's a lot different. And yes, there's a lot of running when it comes to combat sports, like in boxing. It's called road work, but that's mainly for endurance and your stamina, more so than your speed itself. The speed usually is from your technique and how you throw a punch and kicks and stuff like that. So that's different. And even though he can go faster than the speed of the bounds of infinity and stuff, that doesn't mean he can fight at those speeds, because a lot of times when you see Superman's speed feats that people use, they're nowhere near as impressive as at least the combat speed feats are nowhere near as impressive as his travel speed feats, and there's not as many. So clearly there's a difference between the speed, his travel speed, and his combat speed. If that wasn't the case, they would have had the same amount of feats and to the same level. But usually the combat speed feats are around multiple times the speed of sound. That's why they said, sometimes he gets hit by Batman and he gets hit by bullets. The Elseworld storyline thing, I think that's kind of a BS argument, because even in the main storyline, a lot of times Superman has been hit by Batman. Realistically, Superman should be able to speed blitz him. The only reason he doesn't is because plot-induced stupidity, and they have to do that because there's no way to give Batman an actual challenge, be an actual challenge for Superman if they were using more realistic and logical sense. Because logically, Superman is able to move so fast that Batman would be frozen in time, so he could just speed blitz him and put his hand through his chest, ending up killing him. And most of the times he's not trying to kill him. It's just a little bit of a fight and he's trying to stop him or whatever. And we see this all the time with, for example, the CW's Flash. He should be able to take out his enemies every time, but what he does, and for some reason the writers keep on making him run up to them, stop, and then start talking, and then they take him out. So that's just how writing is. That's what happens with a lot of these characters that are fast. They make them do stupid things that would, hinder their victory, because they could just speed blitz them. And then after that, also there's a lot of inconsistencies when it comes to the writing and stuff. But after that, there was stating a couple of feats. First, they stated that Superman was able to sneeze out a solar system. If you guys actually read the whole story, they didn't put the entire context to what happened. Apparently, Mxyzptlk was messing with Metropolis. He put a bunch of sneezing powder in the Daily Planet, and he was going to have it detonate off. And once when it detonates, all the citizens of Metropolis were going to have it up their nose, and they're going to sneeze simultaneously. So much, and by them sneezing simultaneously, it would be so powerful that it would eject the Earth out of its orbit. And Superman saying, "Oh no, this is going to kill everybody," he basically took it upon himself to, breathe in all of that sneezing powder himself. Sorry for coughing. Sneezing powder himself, and then went to a dying solar system, and then sneezed out and destroying that solar system. Now, this was a dying solar system, so it would be easier to destroy than just a regular solar system with, like, a living star and stuff like that. This was a weakened solar system, but at the end of the day, it's still a solar system, right? But you guys need to take into consideration that this sneezing powder is not regular sneezing powder. One, it came from Mxyzptlk. We know that a lot of his tricks are never just straightforward and plain. Usually they have some reality warping element to it. And then second of all, the fact that only, a city full of people, which would be around a couple million people, sneezing simultaneously had enough power to eject an entire planet out of its orbit. It's clearly not regular sneezing powder. Because if we did get everybody on Earth, and I'm not just talking about millions of people, I'm talking about all the over 7 billion people sneezing simultaneously, it wouldn't eject the Earth out of its orbit. We wouldn't have that much power to do something like that. So the fact that just a couple million were able to do that, clearly this powder is augmented. So if humans could do that, a couple million can eject an entire planet out of an orbit. Superman, somebody as powerful as him, and his lungs, him absorbing it all, it makes sense that he would be able to wipe out an entire solar system. So I always see this one, and I think it's kind of more like due to the fact that the sneezing powder is kind of an amplification. And if it wasn't, then those millions of people sneezing simultaneously wouldn't have had that effect. Then they stated that he froze a ghost. I don't think this guy's actually a ghost. He seems like somebody that uses tech to basically phase in and out of stuff, like those ghost robbers that they have, like in some stories where he's phasing, and it looks more like Superman frozen before he was able to use that tech, but he doesn't look like a ghost. Then seeing the souls and sensing that, Goku's done this too. If you play Raging Blast, I think 1 or 2, when you fight against Android 15 and 14 and 15, Goku states, "I can't sense a soul in you." So Goku can do it too, because if you can sense ki, you can technically sense souls also, but that's not really going to help out in a fight anyway. So even if Superman can do it and Goku can't, I don't know what that would give him an advantage in. So yeah, let's get back into it now.
Okay, though, he can just burn through it with his face. Since he gets his power from the yellow sun, his heat vision burns with the fire of a star. And if beams aren't enough, he can blast it out of his whole body for a super flare. It used to totally drain him, but he's learned how to control it.
Simply put, Superman's powers defy physics. My favorite examples of this are when he rebuilt the reality warping miracle machine from memory, or punched Brainiac so hard every version of him felt it through all of time, or when he gained 10 years worth of medical training through only 5 minutes of reading, and then successfully performed lung surgery.
Nice.
Okay, before I get into it, you guys didn't hear because I cut out the audio usually when I let the video play, but there's somebody's car ramping up outside, so sorry for that noise. It is annoying, but my neighbors, they do stuff with cars a lot. So I'm going to go back to a couple of the stuff. They said this is out of the bounds of, physics and stuff like that. Him being able to remember this entire machine from just, memory alone. That doesn't go out of the bounds of physics itself. It is impressive as a feat, but it doesn't go out of the bounds of physics. And it's not really going to do anything in a fight that much. Then the Doomsday, the Brainiac thing, I'll talk about that. I did read the story, and it's a little bit more complex than what they're showing. And then here, the 10 years of medical stuff. Once again, this is not out of the bounds of physics. I don't know why that would be. Just showcase that he has a really great memory and is able to obtain information pretty fast and a vast amount of information in a short amount of time. They're going to probably use this for his, intellect when it comes to combat, but I wouldn't say it translates very well to that. And I've made a video on that about, combat IQ and regular IQ. But let's talk about this Brainiac thing, because people are going to be like, whoa, he's that powerful that he was able to hit him so hard that his other versions of himself and iterations of himself through different timelines was able to feel it, right? But if you actually read the storyline, what was happening in this event was, this was towards the tail end of the New 52. Basically, they were trying to revamp the story, and then they're trying to be done with the New 52 and go into the rebirth, right? And whenever they do this, they have these big crisis events where they end that previous universe and versions of them, and then they have like a new title of them. And this was them transitioning from New 52 to Rebirth. And the way they did it this time differently was they had Brainiac do it, and he was going to do it by going to a black hole and basically setting off a bomb in it. By detonating the bomb in the black hole, it would basically destroy the reality and then redo it and change it over again so they can have the new Rebirth. And Superman tried to stop him, and Doomsday came in there at some point, and when he punched him at this point, they were reaching towards the black hole, and by getting into the black hole, there was some time anomaly problems happening, because when you go through a black hole or get close to it scientifically, time starts to slow down and stop. And since this is science fiction, they tend to usually take these real life scientific things and kind of tweak it a little and expand upon it in their own way. And the way they did this one was they were getting close to the black hole, which was basically pulling Brainiac and having these other versions of himself. And while Superman punched him, the energy that he transmitted also went in and fed into the black hole, and the black hole absorbed it and then was also pulling it out. So it wasn't because he hit him so hard that, he was able to go through reality and all these iterations of Brainiac. It was simply that the black hole itself was pulling all these other versions because it was getting close to the singularity was going to reset the timelines itself. And when Superman hit him, it basically just helped that out more. And actually, towards the end of the storyline, I'm pretty sure they all get stuck in the black hole and end up dying. So this would actually make Superman look weaker, because if you're trying to say that he's beyond realities and stuff like that, just know if you read the storyline, they technically, I forgot if Superman gets caught up, but I know Brainiac and Doomsday definitely die with a black hole, and then they get reinvented into a new one. That's when we get the Rebirth. I think Superman survives. He's able to escape and eject them in there, and this is where we have the Rebirth Superman and the New 52 Superman both being in the same timeline type story event. But it would have killed him, so yeah, technically he would have died by a black hole, so it kind of goes against their whole argument that he's beyond realities and stuff. So yeah, let's just get back to it now.
My favorite example is when he smelled brownies in North Dakota from orbit.
Even beyond his powers, Superman is no novice when it comes to the intricacies of battle.
He's trained in Kryptonian martial arts, which uses chi, or as they call it, Shriar. He even got summoned to Asgard to fight demons with Thor for 1,000 years.
Superman can resist being erased from existence.
Fight demons with Thor for 1,000 years.
Superman
No, you cheated. There should be nothing left. How can you even be standing here?
can resist being erased.
Family never lets go. Okay, the reason why I'm stopping and reading here is because they like to take these images out, and usually they take it out of context. There's more context than what they showed those panels, but even in those panels, sometimes you can see a little bit of what the story, what happened in the story. And this is one of the reasons why I don't really respect Death Battle and a lot of these other channels. They use these screenshots and stuff like that, and they take it out of context. When I have one of my videos coming out with the research that I did, I will be going as in depth as possible. And if I can't, I'll just tell you guys that it's because it took some time and I kind of forgot some stuff. So when I do it, I want to give you the whole scope of what the story had and what this image that I'm showing you, what is the purpose, what am I trying to convey here, instead of just saying stuff. And this is going to be important why I'm focusing on this. You're going to see... I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to let them, because they're going to be rattling off, I'm pretty sure, a couple of more impressive feats. And I want to stop it there, and then I'm going to go back to this again.
From existence, such as tanking Darkseid's Omega Beams. Even Retcon and the Time Trapper, both of which hijack and alter timelines, can't touch him. Not because of his powerful mental defenses or healing factor, but because he's a cosmic linchpin in the greater metaverse.
Timelines literally revolve around him.
But let's address...
Okay, so that's what he was saying. Okay, this is why it's good to pause and stuff, or let them go on and then pause, because then I can go through multiple things. First, the skill stuff. Yes, he has these martial arts, techniques and training in his repertoire, but when we see him in the comic books, he rarely, if ever, uses them. He usually uses big haymaker shots, like winding up looped, hooks. So he usually uses his hands. He rarely, if ever, uses his feet, elbows, knees, head. He usually just uses his hands. And yes, there are times where he uses his feet and stuff like that, but that's rare compared to how many times he just throws punches. And he does other techniques, like he does like tosses and sometimes he grapples, but he usually just throws big winding looping punches. So when you look at it, the story narrative point, yes, he is very kind of decently skilled, but when we see what he does in actual fights, he doesn't show off that skill that much. It's not that It's not that common with him. Then they stated that he fought in Valhalla with Wonder Woman against demons and stuff, and Thor, for 1,000 years. So this would add to his experience, right? But like I stated before in my other video, that experience is a lot more complex than people think. When you see somebody who's an experienced fighter, it really depends on the level of competition. Was the opponent they're fighting as strong as them? Were they as skilled as them? You could make an argument that the people that he was fighting against for 1,000 years, even though they're demons, were weaker than him, and he was just overpowering them. So even though he technically fought for 1,000 years, and you could say he had 1,000 years of experience, the argument could be, well, he was fighting against beings that are weaker than him, so he didn't really gain any experience, he just overpowered them. But then the existence erasure thing, the fact that Mixius is saying, no, you cheated, you should be nothing left, how can you even be standing here? He said, family never lets go. Why would Superman say family never lets go as his response? Wouldn't he just respond with, you can't wipe me out of existence, that doesn't work on me, existence erasure doesn't work on me, I'm above that, something like that? Why did he mention family never lets go? I don't know the full context to this, so I'm not going to say 100% that this is the case, but from what I see from this panel alone, what I'm getting from it is, technically Mixius Spitalik, there was some deal that he failed, that he would be wiped out of existence, but either through the clause of whatever contract he's holding, or due to the story itself, the reason why Superman was able to survive or probably come back was because his family wouldn't let go of him, the idea of him, and that kept him in existence. So he would have been erased out of existence if he didn't have his family believing in him, because of he negated it. He would just said simply, I'm above existence erasure. They do that all the time in comics. Why would he mention specifically his family not letting go of him? So I think that's more the reason why he was able to negate that, more so than he's just above time existence erasure as a whole. Not saying that that isn't the case, but seeing right here, it's a little iffy on that argument. Then they also use Darkseid using his Omega beams, which he can do a lot of things. He doesn't just wipe you out of existence. Sometimes he can use it as a regular laser. Other time he can do it where he can take you out of time itself and place you in another timeline. Like, for example, with Batman, people thought he killed Batman. He didn't kill him. He basically transported him back in time, and Batman had to find his way back to the present time, right? So, in that instance, you can say, yes, well, he negated the existence erasure. But remember, guys, that these techniques, it really depends. People always like to go with these no-limit fallacies when they hear abilities like this that are very OP, like existence erasure. They think that this means that anybody that it hits, it will wipe them out of existence, and if it doesn't, that being must be above existence erasure in general. But that's going based off of a no-limit fallacy. More likely, it's the technique, the way it works is you would have the being that's using it, like Darkseid using the Omega beams, it only wipes them out of existence if they are weaker than him. And usually in Superman storylines against Darkseid, he's either stronger than Darkseid, on Darkseid's level, or just a bit below him. But he's rarely, if ever, way below Darkseid. So I think that's the reason why he was able to survive it. They're saying that he just can negate it. I think it's more so that he's just above that. And an example I'll give you for that is when Golden Frieza, when he got hit by the Hakai Blast, he was able to overcome it and then compress it and destroy it, or throw it on Goku. And Goku was able to survive it and base, even though it was affecting him, right? Now, does that mean he's above existence erasure? No. It depends on the technique. That technique, clearly, that Sidra gave to that assassin to use on him was not, it's not a no-limit technique. It doesn't wipe them all out unless they're above existence. It was just that the technique required the being to be way weaker, and Frieza was just strong enough to be able to, handle the existence erasure. So if we're going to go by that logic, then Frieza would also be exactly the same and also be above existence erasure as a whole. So yeah, that's the argument that, that's the way I see it, because people usually when they see that, they're like, oh, this character is above that ability. More so, usually it's just the case that that ability or that technique that's being used on them, it only works on beings that are weaker. If the being is stronger or on their level, usually it does not work on them. So that's the way I see it, because by that logic, then we can say Frieza is above existence erasure, but we know he's not. Also, I've argued about that too on my channel, that the difference between the techniques, the regular energy attack and the one that Beerus used on what's his name, Zamasu, I feel like those are two different techniques that are separate. I think the one that Beerus used on Zamasu is the complete version, where the other one's just regular energy ability. But yeah, using that as the basis to say he's above existence erasure, I don't think is a decent argument to make. They also mentioned the time trapper and another being. I don't know the other beings. I forgot his name. But the time trapper, I do know that storyline. The reason why he wasn't able to wipe Superman out was because we find out later on in the story that the time trapper is technically Superboy Prime, and Superboy Prime got stuck in a dimension or something like that, and then he became able to have the ability to manipulate time itself. But he couldn't wipe Superman out of existence. It was two things. One, he technically didn't want to because that wasn't his point, what he was trying to do. And two, he couldn't because since he was Superboy Prime and based off of that main Superman, he can't wipe him out of existence without wiping himself out. So it had nothing to do with Superman being this, whatever thing that they identified him as, or being above, time and creation itself. It's simply due to the fact that he was directly linked to the Time Trapper, who was basically Superboy in this future version of himself, who's more powerful. And then the other character, it was most likely the reason why he couldn't erase him out of that time or existence also was because he was closely linked to something. Because we know that even beings that manipulate with time, there's certain things that they can't do, right? Like before Zoom became, and I'm talking about Barthan Zoom, before he became, a time anomaly and stuff like that, he could go back in time, but there were certain things that he couldn't mess with and stuff. He couldn't completely kill Barry, because if he killed Barry, then that would erase him or erase his powers away, because that would go against the time itself. Until he got ejected out of the time stream itself, then it didn't really matter at that point because he wasn't connected to anything. But in this case, that could have been the case with Superman. I know about the Time Trapper storyline. That was the reason why he couldn't do it. I forgot about the other guy's one. I haven't read the other guy's one, so I don't know about his.
Because of his powerful mental defenses or healing factor,
They revolve around him.
but let's address the S-shaped elephant in the room. You may have noticed we've covered a variety of Superman eras. Superman, and DC Comics as a whole, have gone through multiple retcons.
Golden Age, Silver Age, pre-crisis, post-crisis, New 52, Rebirth, and so on.
It would help to know which one is the main Superman, right? Well, they all are.
Yeah, the latest reboots basically said everything in the main series is kinda canon, even when he had wacky powers like changing his appearance with a super muscular control. Ew. I guess he can still phase through almost anything, even people.
Look, if you really dig into it, this is...
Yeah, that is the case. But the phasing thing, I don't know why they keep on using that. That's not that impressive. Goku could do that. That's just the after image technique. He was able to do that all the way back in Dragon Ball. We saw when he was fighting in Cell, he actually used it in a pretty cool way. He basically shot this, fake phased version of him and went through Cell while he was blocking. And then when he opened up his guard, Goku actually came in. I don't know how the hell he did that, but he somehow did. But yeah, that's not anything that's special. They said he can phase through anything. It's just moving your body and your molecules so fast that you basically are able to phase through attacks. It isn't anything too crazy. It's kind of a basic thing, and Goku's done it before too, so I don't know why they're acting like that's a big thing.
isn't new. Plenty of characters have recalled events from supposedly retcon timelines before.
Yeah, post-crisis Supes did start as less powerful than in pre-crisis, but that was because of the mental blocks.
Though he's not...
Supes did start as less powerful than in pre-crisis, but that was because of the mental blocks.
Though he's not a complete composite, there's so many other Supermen out there.
Future Superman, Big Robot Superman, Commie Superman, Dinosaur Superman.
Okay, let's talk about those. The future one is just from All-Star Superman. He basically, in that one, he was dying and he was going to explode and go supernova. So they had the Sun Eater and it ate basically their star and it was dying. So he flew into the sun itself and reset it and gave it new life when he exploded. But it actually saved his life also. It preserved him in there. And then he just bathed in there for 15,000 years, became, that version of Superman. I've had a video on it talking about that version of Superman, Superman Prime 1 million. And I talked about how he's not as powerful as people say he is. A lot of his feats he didn't really accomplish. You guys can check out that video itself. The Communist Superman, that one I think is fine, and also that one. The Cosmic Arbor Superman, though, is not an actual version of Superman. I know some of you guys disagree with that. Somebody in my comment section yesterday, or I think 2 days ago, commented and stated that actually it is another version of him, but it's not. The body was created from the Miracle Machine, and his mind, his consciousness was basically, they took the consciousness of Superman and Ultraman and put it into his mind so he can see from both their perspectives and their realities, and also from his own in the monitor's realm, right? So people say, well, that still makes him a version of Superman. No, it doesn't. He's not physically a version of Superman. The only thing he has is his consciousness uploaded into him. It's basically saying like you upload your consciousness into a robot and you're still alive, and saying that that robot is another version of you. No, it's not. That robot just has your brain patterns in it. So it kind of like is like a part of you, but it's not another version of you. That's just nonsensical statement to make. It doesn't really make any sense. So yeah, I disagree with that. I just think that he has their knowledge and stuff. That doesn't make him a different version. Same thing like Dr. Zero. He transferred over his actual mind. That isn't a different version of him. That is just him now with his mind fully transferred over there. So I think that's a little confusing, but I don't agree with that statement itself.
There's a bunch.
Still, this new canon has affected his abilities. For example, he and other Kryptonians can effortlessly travel through time. And while Superman's powers stem from the Earth's yellow sun, exposure to a blue star increases them even further. In fact, upon visiting a white star, he attained a whole new level of power.
When that old baldy Lex teleported him to another galaxy, Superman just popped back up, saying space-time has lost its meaning for him. He really just said that.
Remember, Superman defies physics.
Like when he...
Okay, I will get into that. It seems like they're going to be going to something crazy right here, but I'll just want to talk about that so I don't forget about it. What he did right there, people were using that a lot, saying that he's beyond time and space. What he basically learned is he has an ability where he can create a wormhole and basically go through the dimensions and stuff and end up there. The reason that's why he meant by, you know, space and time has lost all meaning, because if you can open up a wormhole, you can go from one end of the universe to another instantly. Basically, you just open up this portal and then zap through it. It's kind of like teleportation, but a little bit different. Teleportation, you basically are able to instantly transfer your body from one area to another, whereas that one, you basically open up a hole through, the fabric of space. Space-time itself basically folded it in on itself and then travel through there. So when Lex sent him to another dimension or far away, he basically just opened up a wormhole or a portal and then went through it and ended up back there. Kind of like with Thor with, his Mjolnir, he can do that. That isn't anything, that doesn't mean he's beyond space and time. The ability of wormhole itself is just beyond space and time because it basically manipulates it and folds it in on itself, right? But that does not mean that, that's just a dumb statement to make, that it's saying that, oh, that means that he's beyond time and space. No, if you guys think a little bit and have a little bit of, basic understanding of science, you would know all he did was create a wormhole. There's nothing special about that.
He used heat vision to restart the universe by making an all-new Big Bang.
We've seen that his universe has a radius of at least 100 trillion light years, but we can calculate a more exact figure. The DC universe is 15 billion years old and expands at 60 trillion light years per half second. This means its radius must be over 50 nonillion light years across.
What? That's 31 zeros, and Soups helped make that happen.
Well, about 1/5 of it. That's still immense power, but if you want something bigger, here.
Okay, I'll just let it go on. That one was a big one, but no, actually, I'll talk about it since I already paused it. I'm going to go on to that. So they're basically stating that Superman was able to reset the universe by giving that guy power with his heat vision, meaning that the amount of energy that he was able to produce was equivalent to that because the guy could reset it with that energy, right? And this is even more impressive because our universe, people usually say it's around like 94 billion light years. That is not true. It is actually a lot bigger. That's just the observable universe. If you look at the unobservable universe or the unknown universe, I have it right here. I'll show you how big it is. It is estimated to be around 23 trillion light years in diameter. So in our observable universe, where our telescopes and our scientific machines can reach out to the furthest, can reach out to basically is able to map out 94 billion light years across the universe itself. But that's just due to the limit of our instruments, because light needs to reach the instrument to pick it up to be able to tell the distance, and there's always going to be a limit to that. So no matter how advanced the technology it is, it's never going to be able to go past a certain threshold. But what basically, math and like putting in some science and stuff, they've been able to find out that our universe is actually 23 trillion light years. So it's way bigger than 94 billion light years, which they've used before. So our universe is actually quite decently big. But going back to that, the whole 100 trillion light years, they said is at bare minimum that, but it could be is bigger than that, because Superman stated, and I read the storyline a little bit, I read that part specifically, something with their parallax wiping out existence, and Brainiac basically, he was going to combine into the Big Bang, and Superman stated that by him combining to the Big Bang, he would be able to, pass his mind throughout the Big Bang, so the Big Bang was spread out in 60 trillion light years in half a second. But that could be a hyperbolic statement from Superman. It might not be a literal statement, because there isn't anything else that showcases or states or indicates that the universe is that big. Because you saw what they stated right there. They stated that the universe is that massively big. Their DC universe is not massively big. Because before it was like people stating it's 100 trillion light years, but now they're stating is this decillion whatever number, right? This will make Superman's feats way more impressive, because if he's able to, challenge something on the universal level scale, then that would mean that just the universal level scale abilities would be multiple times that of ours. So even with Goku having 1,500 times that of our universe, multiplied with the Super Saiyan transformations and stuff like that, and then just the Zenkai boost in general on top of it, will not reach up to even just one universe of DC. So that's, I guess, the argument they're going to use. And I would agree with it if there was more context to it, because that does seem like a hyperbolic statement. There's nothing that confirms that. And the reason why I say that is, why would that guy mention going 100 trillion light years? Like, that's impressive if the universe is way bigger. Also, they never stated that it was exactly like that. They need to show me more instances, because if you're going to make a big claim like that is that ridiculously big, you need more stuff. And one of the reasons why I don't really agree with it or believe it is because if that was the case, remember, the universe, when it expands, everything moves in the every other direction and opposite, right? And in the future, they stated that with the speed that it's moving in, the Andromeda Galaxy is going to collide into our galaxy, and most other galaxies are going to be gone from our night sky, and we're never going to be seeing any other galaxies, and we're going to be merging with the Andromeda Galaxy, right? But the DC universe is a bit older than ours. Ours is around 13.8 billion. There's this 15 billion, they said, and if it's that much bigger than one, the Andromeda Galaxy would have been already merged or way past, the Milky Way galaxy. And the galaxies around the Milky Way galaxy in DC, you would not be able to see any galaxies. So how do they see galaxies at all? We've even heard them having actual estimates on how far. Anytime when they mention Andromeda, or I think they also mentioned the Vega system, all these other systems and stuff, the distance that they measured these, celestial objects like these galaxies and these star systems were basically how it is in our universe, a couple of light years. I think each solar system is like around 4.7 light years away. And they mentioned that before in DC itself. So if it was this astronomically big, the galaxies that were in that in the DC universe, they would not be able to see any of the galaxies near the Milky Way, and two, with that astronomical amount of distance and speed that the space expands in the DC universe, those other celestial objects that are in our world, like the Andromeda Galaxy, the Vega system and stuff, they would be way further apart. But even in DC, when they mention the measurements are exactly or relatively close to ours. But if it was that much bigger than our universe, they would be way further away or way closer, right? But they're not. So why? I think it's more that that's a hyperbolic statement. If you're going to make a bold claim like that, you're going to have more information than just one instance where Superman stated that, and there was no real anything to back it up. Because whenever you hear other characters, like when Elder Kai was stating that Goku and stuff was Beerus and his Clash were going to destroy the universe, a lot of people saying, well, how is he, a reputable source for what he's saying? Just because he says it doesn't mean it's true. But then you hear Superman say this, and it could have been a hyperbolic statement, and you guys are just going with it. But when you think about it logically, like I said, these other star systems would have been way further away, right? But they're clearly not. They're the same length and distance away in our universe. There would be a lot of stuff that wouldn't really add up. So I don't really agree with that. But let's go on with what they're saying here.
Here's the Anti-Monitor blasting Golden Age Superman with all the energy of the antimatter universe. And then Superman,
punched him so hard it kickstarted another one of those reboots.
Now, Superman does have
I will stop right there because I did read the Infinite Crisis storyline event. That is not what happened at all. That was Golden Age Superman. What happened, this was the end of the fight. So basically the Anti-Monitor, he was wiping out other universes one by one. As each universe was being erased by the antimatter from his universe, coming into contact with the positive matter universe, it was absorbing that energy to his universe and feeding it directly to him, strengthening him up, right? Sorry for that weird jump cut. My battery died. Like I said, I haven't uploaded in a while. So some of these batteries, I don't know how much energy they have, but I have 3 of them, so it should be fine. Going back to that again, like I stated, that one, that was not true. So as his universe was absorbing that energy, right, what happened was he was gaining some power from it. He wasn't gaining all the universe's power. It's not like because the universe it was eating up their energy as it was breaking it down. It was transferring it over to his universe, and he was gaining some power from it. That doesn't mean he was gaining all the power of his universe, meaning every time he wiped out a universe, he had another additional universal level power on top of him. He was just absorbing a portion of that power itself, right? And as towards the tail end, he basically had Supergirl destroyed his armor around his body, letting out his real body out, and it ended up killing her. And then they were getting to try to fight him and beat him. All the heroes from the Silver Age attacked him all at once. It did some damage, but not enough. And then Alexander Luthor, the guy over there who's saying that everything's gonna be disintegrated, right? He basically stated, the only way we can beat him is if I absorb his energy. So since he had the ability to, of positive matter, he could use that to absorb some of his power. So as he was absorbing his power at this point, he was getting weakened, and all the heroes were attacking him simultaneously. Golden Age Superman was going off on him because, Supergirl died, so he started throwing asteroids at him. Those were doing damage, which is kind of ridiculous. And then the ending, they all attacked him once, damaged him severely, and then he came in for the final blow, sending him into a black hole that basically destroyed him. And as Alexander Luthor stated, is going to disintegrate everything. It wasn't going to disintegrate everything as in the entire universe. It was going to disintegrate everything in a million-mile radius. If you read the actual story, you guys can find it somewhere else yourself. Just go to the Infinite Crisis story, go towards the end. You will see that he stated in a million-mile radius, because in the actual ending of the story, what happened was the entire universe didn't get destroyed and reset by that. There was 5 universes left. They had a machine, basically they used that machine to amalgamate all those 5 universes into one universe, making it one giant universe, because at this point, the writers, they wrote this whole Crisis Story event to basically get rid of the entire multiverse and all these other universes, because it kind of got convoluted. So they wanted to make one universe. They wanted to choose 5 select universes that they had unique stories and then combine it in one. So that's how they did it. So no, beating him and doing that did not reset the timeline. That wasn't the case. That's complete bullshit what they said right there. So let's go through some of the stuff. 1, the Anti-Monitor, his power that he gets from his universe itself isn't equivalent to the universe itself. He gets a portion of that. So that isn't true. Just because he says, I'm using the power of my universe, doesn't mean he's using the power of his entire universe. Second of all, he got hit by all the heroes, the pre-crisis Superman, not Superman, but characters, all the Silver Age characters, Superman included, which are way more powerful than Golden Age Superman, right? All their power combined was stated to be equivalent to a solar system destroying attack. That's impressive, but not that impressive, let's be honest. It's not universal levels. Even the combined force of countless different Silver Age versions of these characters that are way more powerful, Superman included, together only had solar system destroying level of power. But now you're saying Golden Age Superman by himself would be able to destroy Anti-Monitor and have enough power to reset the entire reality as a whole? Wrong. Completely wrong. And he didn't completely beat him. Like I said, they damaged him themselves, and Alexander Luthor was absorbing his energy, weakening him, and then Golden Age Superman just gave the final killing blow. And he also threw asteroids at him that hurt him, so he's clearly not that powerful at that stage. He was very damaged. The fact that asteroids can hurt him, like that's just asinine. And then he didn't even kill him by the punch. He punched him into a black hole that ended up finishing him. And it was Alexander Luthor never stated that it was going to reset the entire timeline and destroy everything. All they did was going to destroy everything in a couple million-mile radius. So 100% wrong. That's a lie. And they were using that to back up their other argument because they stated that he was able to reset the entire universe. I also want to talk about that because I know a lot of people are going to say, well, what about resetting the entire universe? They did mention the fact that he was 1/5 of it, but that's still impressive seeing as how big the universe is. Like I stated, I don't fully agree that it's that big because it doesn't really make much sense story-wise and logical-wise. But even if you want to go with that and say, well, they did, just let's look at it through the context fully. Once again, we need context. The being that he absorbing that energy, does he really need an equivalent amount of the same amount of energy that it would take for the entire universe to reset, or just the amount of energy for his body to be replenished fully, and then he does that? Because clearly that guy was he was the conduit that was absorbing their energy to reset the universe. So he technically did it. Superman didn't do it. Those other guys just helped fueling him, right? Now some of you guys will say, well, doesn't that make sense that his power will be 1/5 of that universe as a whole because he was feeding his energy into that? But then I'll say that Captain Atom guy, I'm pretty sure that's the name, Captain Atom, and who else was it that did it? I'm going to go back a little. Sorry, somebody came in. Let me go back again. Yeah, there was somebody else there. Sorry, I can't find it. But basically, he was stating that he could, what's the thing called? That he was absorbing that power, so that means he has 1/5 of it. So it had to be equivalent to how much energy he needed to require to reset the universe. More so, it seems like to me that the guy just needed enough energy to replenish him. So it really depends on how much energy did he need. Did he need the energy equivalent to the universe itself so he can reset it, or just enough for his body to be fueled so then he can do the rest? So that's the way I see it.
Weaknesses. There's kryptonite, of course, and exposure to red starlight can fade his powers over time.
Not all at once. He has been able to move planets around while under a red star, so...
And everyone knows Superman can't deal with magic, but it's more accurate to say he doesn't have any special resistances to it. He's defeated plenty of magic users before, even Shazam. Such as when he took on the World Forger, one of the most powerful reality shapers in all of creation.
Who was in the sixth dimension, crafting a whole new multiverse to replace the one Clark calls home. Who's gonna stop him?
Superman could, and the Forger knew it. So he was trapped on a world with a sun so distant.
So they had some pretty impressive feats here. I know they're going to go into that. I've talked about this before, and some other people said they disagree with my statements on that. But it said saved Felicity Rose, Philistines, Earth, and the Omniverse. Okay. Shook the Phantom Zone with a punch. I don't know about that. I'll have to see the story, but the Phantom Zone, we don't know how. I don't know how big the dimension is. It is impressive, but remember, Super Boo was able to punch a hole throughout, the hyperbolic time chamber to the regular dimension by just screaming alone. And Buhan, in the anime at least, was going to destroy the realities by just screaming and breaching through these other dimensions. But that was in the anime. Then again, if Super Boo can do that through a scream, Buhan, through full power, losing it, could also do it. Obliterated the World Forge's multiverse. I'll talk about that because I want to see what they say about that. Survived multiple source wall explosions. I'll need to see that too. Restored all timelines while fighting Jackson. Okay, destroyed Darkseid's true form with a quantum shout. It was actually, he had the Miracle Machine create a machine that needed a certain vibrational frequency, which he was able to imitate into the machine itself that was created also by the Miracle Machine that did it. So he didn't do it through just a shout. He had a device that was created through a magical machine that can create anything, and it needed a certain frequency, and he just matched that. So that isn't really that anything there.
He could never escape. Or so the Forger thought.
Instead, Clark found the strength he needed to fly at that sun, dip through a ton of stars, KO the World Forger, and shatter his new multiverse with a single punch. Because that's super...
Okay, let's talk about that. The stars thingy, he didn't get the power to just go through it. Batman was working with the World Forger. He agreed with his plan to rechange the realities because he showed him, he's like, hey, the multiverse is messed up and I can make a better one. So he agreed with him, but then he was like, you know what? I I trust and respect Superman, so I want to help him out. So he basically did something where he could align the stars, so he got it closer to Clark to help him out. He would have died, but he helped him out there. So that wasn't through sheer will. Though dipping through the stars did help him break out of the sixth dimension. Somebody stated he destroyed the sixth dimension. No, he didn't. He just breached a hole, breaking out of it. And as he broke out of it, he went and hit the World Forger, knocking him down. He did beat him with that punch, but he didn't kill him. If you've seen the next panel, he does take him out, but he gets back his consciousness, and you see Superman and the rest of the Justice League standing over him, and he's like wondering what the hell just happened. So yes, he did beat him, but he didn't like completely one-shot him. He was still able to fight. He just took him down at that moment, and he didn't expect it, so he kind of got sucker punched too. But it's still an impressive feat. Now the multiverse itself that shattered, they're stating that he had so much power that not only was he able to take down World Forger, but destroy that multiverse too. That's not true. What happened in that story, while he was building the multiverse, he was in the middle of it, and he was close to finishing it, but since Batman helped out Superman, Superman came in while he was working in the middle of the process, hit him, knocked him down, and that ended up destroying it. So he needed to complete his work for the multiverse to be fully configured, but since Superman interrupted him, it basically interrupted the process, destroying it. So no, he did not destroy a multiverse by punching it. He destroyed the multiverse by hitting the World Forger before he was able to complete it. By stopping him before he was able to complete it, it basically destroyed that multiverse itself. So he didn't do that. He basically stopped a guy from making it. If he, let's say, fully finished the multiverse and Superman hit him, and then it destroyed, then he would have had a point. But the only reason it destroyed was because he didn't get to fully finish it. If he fully, if he fully finished it, I don't think he would have destroyed the multiverse. Because if you see in the actual one, if he had that much power and he was not holding back, then how come the planet that we're on, Earth, didn't get destroyed? All you see is a tiny crater around the World Forger when he gets knocked down, but the entire multiverse got destroyed. So he wasn't holding back so much to the point where he was able to obliterate an entire multiverse, but not enough to destroy the Earth, the planet that they were standing on, and only create a small crater. It seems more likely the reason why the multiverse got destroyed was because he wasn't able to complete it. So that is completely incorrect. Like I said, some of these ones, they completely lie. Other ones, they take it out of context. That did happen, but they took it out of context. He didn't destroy it. He stopped him from creating it, finishing it, which ended up destroying it.
Superman, a simple solution to overwhelming problems. Today's the day. We'll finally settle who's stronger.
If you say so.
You're holding back. Give it your all. No regrets.
I'm doing just fine.
Oops. Well, I guess we can wish it back later.
World made of cardboard. All right, I'll show you just how powerful I really am.
This looks like a job for...
Well, what do you think?
That was awesome! Nice suit!
Oh, thanks. Kryptonian fabric. My mom made it for me. Finally!
Ah, darn it.
Almost had me there. That was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, it sure was. But I'll be stronger next time.
I look forward to it.
Let's go again.
You're on.
KO! That's it! The final, indisputable answer! Who am I kidding? People are gonna argue this one forever.
There are so many ways this battle could go, especially with all the other continuities.
Yeah, for real, Goku would kick almost every other Superman's ass, except for the main one.
There's a lot to cover, so let's address the 5 categories most representative of this fight.
First up, strength. Both could hit hard enough to break or make their whole universe, or take it in stride, like when Superman got smacked by the whole antimatter universe.
At most, Dragon Ball's universe is 1,505 times larger than our own. But based on the DC Universe's officially established age and rate of expansion, it is 1.6 vigintillion times larger, over a novemdecillion times more than Goku's.
At some point, you reach a number high enough that it just doesn't mean anything anymore. Anyway, Goku's obviously gotten stronger since the Beerus fight, even by billions or trillions of times. He's defeated Jiren, Broly, Moro, and Fu.
But even if we highball Goku by quadrillions or quintillions of times, the gap is just too much, especially with the World Forger feat. Not even Heroes competes with that. Superman takes the edge in strength.
But strength isn't everything. Let's
Okay, so I'm going to go through each of these categories as they go through it. I expected them to have Superman win it, obviously. The strength thingy, like I said, they're going based off of that statement there. Superman stating that the Big Bang, within half a second, was able to, the universe expanded at 60 trillion light years in half a second. So going based off the age and the amount of, speed that it's able to accelerate in, it would be that big mathematically. But I just don't think it adds up logically and through the story narrative itself. Because, like I said, if that was the case, then the galaxies you would not be seeing, you would not be able to see any of the galaxies around the main, the Milky Way and DC. Also, the distance between the galaxies, like the Andromeda Galaxy, the Vega System, all these other like celestial objects in their universe would be way further away. They wouldn't be the same distance away there that they are in our universe. So that wouldn't really make any sense. So that if we're going based off of, there's two notions. One, if you guys agree that that is true and that's not a hyperbolic statement and that is official canon, that the universe in DC is able to expand at 60 trillion light years in half a second, then yes, I do agree that there's, even if we take Goku's highest highball feats, he's not going to be able to match that when it comes to strength, right? That I agree with. But I do not agree with the statement that the DC universe is actually that big. I don't think any of the writers believe that or are going to say that. That statement right there seems more hyperbolic when Superman stating it. I don't think he was meaning it literally. They was going to, expand across there. He probably just said a big astronomical number and a certain amount of time itself. Because like I said, if it was the case, then these places would have been a lot further away. And every time when they mention distance in DC, they never mention anything that ridiculously high up. So it's just ridiculous for me to believe that that is the case. So I don't agree with their argument that how big their universe is, but if we were to go by that logic, I would say definitely. But that whole World Forger thing where they stated that destroying the multiverse, like I said, I do not agree with that, because the reason the multiverse got destroyed was because he wasn't able to finish it. If he finished it, he wouldn't have been able to destroy it. Though you could make the argument that he was able to break out of the sixth dimension, which even Mixia wasn't able to get into, and then do all that. But here's the thing. If Superman really is that powerful, and the reason why I don't like that argument is, one, if that is the case, that Superman is usually that powerful, why are you guys always only using that feat? If he's really that powerful, then why don't you have countless other feats of him being this high level of power? Why would you always only use this one feat? If he's really this powerful, you wouldn't just keep on saying he beat the World Forager, he beat the World Forager. Wouldn't you show other feats? And how come every time there's a universal or multiversal level threat or danger, he's never the one being able to beat it? How come he doesn't just stop it by himself? Why does he have to have a whole team? The Anti-Monitor, I've argued multiple times, he is not even universal. He basically uses machines that pump in antimatter into the positive matter, which scientifically, has a chemical chain reaction that ends up obliterating it and then transferring over the energy, right? So he wasn't able to beat him, even with this combined force as Silver Age Superman, which is the strongest version of Superman, or one of the strongest versions of Superman, right? Combining his energy with his power with all the other pre-crisis and Silver Age comic book heroes, right? Their power was only equivalent to a solar system. It stated it had enough power to wipe out an entire solar system. Yet he should be way more powerful than that, and that actually did some damage to the Anti-Monitor. And also there was another instance in the Sinestro War story event where the Green Lantern set off one of the battery rings or batteries, and then it blew up on him, and it was stated to have enough power to wipe away a galaxy, and it did significant damage to him to the point where it damaged him severely to Superboy being able to finish him. So he's clearly not that powerful of a galaxy explosive explosion was able to severely damage him. Then we have Mixie Spitalik. Every time he's messed with Superman, the only way Superman's able to stop him is by playing his game of saying his name backwards and tricking him. If he was really that powerful, he would have just been like, screw it, dude, you're messing with timelines too much, and beat him. How come in the Emperor Joker storyline where Joker had his power, almost all of Mixie's power, and not holding back, was going to threaten the multiverse and Superman couldn't stop him? When they beat him, he didn't beat him with his power. They beat him through another means. And Mixius even told Superman's like, you were never that powerful. And Mixius said, I've been holding back on you. I didn't need to use that. You're not on that level. So even he stated he's never been on that level. He hasn't been able to beat Mixius. He hasn't been able to beat them. He didn't stop Darkseid's true form when he was falling. That shouting thing, I explained it. It wasn't him just beating him through sheer power or whatever. That I disagree with 100%. But let's get into the speed category. I've talked about that quite a bit.
Let's talk speed. Both are obviously way faster than light, but Superman crossed that mega-sized universe of his in seconds and flew faster than infinity.
Makes sense. He can keep up with the Flash, whose speed is so ludicrous it's unquantifiable.
Don't count Goku out, though. Flying across the entire afterlife in base form and outspeeding Eos's future sight takes some crazy speed.
Fighting Zamasu as an omnipresent merged timeline also implies immeasurable speeds.
That, combined with instant transmission and ultra instinct, could probably keep up.
Maybe. Quantifiably, Superman is faster, but both are immeasurable. The safest bet here is to say they tie in speed.
Okay, I disagree with the speed a little bit too. So the speed argument they used, I do think travel speed, he's faster than him, but I've already stated that combat speed-wise, Goku's faster than Superman, and that's what really matters in these fights, because Goku can throw punches faster than him, he can block faster than him, he can dodge close-range and long-range attacks faster than him and better than him. He can counter his opponents easier because he's more of a martial arts fighter. He has better those abilities. So I disagree with that. I think in travel speed, but that doesn't really matter. In the end of the day, he stated he was as fast as the Flash. Not really. The Flash has always been faster than him. He goes easy on him. And this is Barry Allen Flash, which he's the second fastest Flash. The first is Wally West. He's easily the fastest. And even as the Flash, I'm saying that Barry Allen's the second fastest because obviously Professor Zoom is faster than him, right? But he is the slower Flash, and he's way faster than Superman. He goes easy on him. Wally West's Flash, on the other hand, he is the fastest Flash, and he would easily beat Superman casually.
Especially when we look at skill. Goku's a martial arts master. He's definitely got better battle instincts. He wants to fight and is dedicated to his training, while Superman sees training as a means to an end.
Superman's knowledge in pressure point combat and Kryptonian martial arts are impressive, but he's only used them a few times. It would be disingenuous to say he's an equivalent master at them.
So Goku wins in skill, but not necessarily.
I agree with that too. People like to say Superman can do this and that. Maybe he might be a little bit more technical than a lot of people think, but he's not as technical as Goku. What Goku does is expert level. You're saying a guy that has some experience isn't going to be the same. You know, that's just ridiculous to make that claim in general. Some people might disagree. I know somebody like Jobbers and Goons might disagree with that. But yeah, a lot of people are going to say that. But like the pressure point technique, we've seen Tien use this. We've seen General Mercenary Tao use this against Goku, and both of them, when they did it, it wasn't a big thing. That was it was just a basic technique. But when Superman does it, they make a big emphasis on it because that's one of his like most impressive techniques he can do. But to Goku, that's nothing. But let's see their argument for experience. I think they're going to give it to Superman for the more years of experience or opponents that he fought.
Necessarily an experience.
Don't get it wrong, Superman is not a mindless brawler. He's trained with Batman and Wonder Woman. He's even defeated martial arts experts like Cobra without powers.
Goku has spent decades training, but Superman battled Norse demons for 8,000 years.
He's also astonishingly brilliant, like when he reassembled the reality warping miracle machine from memory. Experience obviously goes to Superman.
Okay, so first let's go to that. The experience, I've talked about this before. People say, well, somebody fought more people and they had more opponents. But remember, Superman, he has been around longer, so that's kind of the case. But even then, people say, well, he has more experience, especially the Valhalla thing, where he fought for 1,000 years against demons. The problem with Superman is usually the opponents that he fights against are usually weaker than him, and the ones that are strong are not that very technical. They're just powerhouses, right? Goku, on the other hand, casually fights beings way stronger than him and have decently high skill level. Some people might say some stupid stuff like, well, he struggled against Broly and Frieza, they beat him. But it wasn't because they beat him through technique, they beat him through power. Broly, when first Goku was fighting him, he was holding back, and that gave Broly enough time to get stronger and stronger and surpass him in power. So when Goku was fighting him, Goku and Vegeta, they were beyond him in technique. It's just power alone. He got so astronomically high that even in a fused state, they had to go into their blue form to handle him, right? So to use that as an argument is kind of dumb because it's disregarding the fact that the reason that he was able to beat him and Frieza was able to give Goku a hard time is because they're way stronger. That's not the same. Goku casually fights against stronger beings. Superman fights against beings weaker. So it's easier for him to beat a lot of his guys and have like fight against a bunch of people. And I've talked about this before. In fighting, there's two terms. There's a term called padding a record, right? And this is kind of a debate a bit, and I want to go into it a little bit. So yeah, this experience thing is just, the way they're thinking is very basic level. It's, well, this guy fought for longer and he has fought more opponents, so that means he has more experience. But it's this stuff is a lot more complex, like speed. Just because a character is able to go from one distance to another in a short amount of time does not mean that they're able to move at that speed in a fight. Just because somebody's able to lift up heavy amounts of things doesn't mean they're able to hit that hard. This is far more complex than simply just saying, oh, well, he's fought longer and fought more people, so that means he has more experience. Here's the thing. Experience really depends on who you're fighting, how strong the opponent is compared to you physically, and how skilled the opponent is. A lot of Superman's opponents that he fights against are physically weaker than him usually, and even if they are stronger than him or on his level, they're just powerhouses and mindless brutes. They don't really have martial arts. Whereas Goku usually casually fights against being stronger than him and pretty experienced. Some of them are usually lower experienced, but they can compensate with that with higher amounts of power, right? So when you look at it yes, Superman has more, but who has the more valuable fights? And if you look at it through a fighter's lens, there's a lot of boxers out there with 50, 60 fight records, right? They have even win streaks, unbeaten streaks. But a lot of fighters, they don't take it seriously. Why? Because those are padded out records. They fought against nobodies. They fought against fodder. They fought against weak people. These guys are a weak competition. So it's not always just about who fights more. It's about who fights the more high level of competition. And Goku's definitely fought the higher level of competition. Even though some of the beings that Superman fought against are kind of unique, they're more unique in just their plans and how powerful they are, more so than, what they're capable of. So yes, you can go, if you're going based off of just basic thinking, he's fought more opponents. Superman has more of a padded out record, but Goku has a more skillful record. So if you think about it logically, think of this. Somebody that fought 300 fights but against a bunch of bums versus somebody who fought 15, 20 fights, but they're against high level competition of the highest of the level. Who would be having more experience? Number wise, the other person, but through actual learning wise, it would be the person with less fights because they have more quality. So it's more about the quality over the quantity. Superman definitely has a quantity, but not the quality. And then also, I've talked about this before about combat IQ and regular IQ, and I mentioned this a little bit with them, the Miracle Machine. They're saying that he can remember the stuff and then use it, right? But those are scientific things. Just because you can remember scientific notions does not mean you're going to be able to remember fighting. Intelligence is different across the board of different things. Just because you're really good at mathematics doesn't mean you're going to be good at biology or these other fields and stuff. So they don't always connect with each other. It doesn't really make much sense. So I don't really agree with that argument there, unless of you saying that he's able to see somebody's fighting style and be able to copy that quickly, or see somebody using a technique and then instantly learn that. But Goku's done that. Superman hasn't. When Superman does it, it's more scientific based, like creating a machine, doing surgery. When Goku's done it, it's basically just learning techniques through mimicry. Now let's go through the powers, and I want to talk about a couple other stuff that I feel like they might not have put in, but I think it's important.
But perhaps less obvious is our last category, powers.
Hakai, Spirit Bomb, Mafuba, Instant Transmission, God Key, God Bind. How does Goku not win with those?
In Dragon Ball, Ki is dependent on physical ability, so it's different from magic. God Ki is simply pure Ki, and magic isn't an auto win against Superman anyway, whose greater strength could break out of something like the God Bind.
Mafuba and the Spirit Bomb would take way too long, and Goku's never successfully used Hakai before. Even if he did land it, Superman's impossible to erase from reality. Like, he's tanked Omega Beams, which do the same thing as Hakai.
Superman can time travel.
See, like I said, the Hakai stuff, they're saying that he could do that. I'm not going to say the Hakai could beat him, but to use that argument that, Darkseid's Omega Beams didn't work on him, that's like saying that they're both the equivalent, the same technique. Yes, they have the same properties and same ability, but that doesn't mean they're on the same level. Same thing with, in their Dragon Ball's own universe with the Hakai energy attack that was used by Sidra and the one with Beerus. Beerus did that to Frieza, he would have obliterated him. So it really depends on the power and stuff. So that's a little iffy, that logic there. But they're going to say right here, Superman can go through time with the speed, but Goku can't. But it depends on the universe they're in. And DC, the way they mess with time, you just have to go a couple times faster than the speed of light, and you can go through the time barrier, or the time barrier, and break it and go back in time. But in Dragon Ball, that's not the case. Even characters like Whis, who's fast enough to go from one end of the universe to the other end of the universe and through multiple universes within a couple of hours, wasn't able to travel through time. So Dragon Ball, clearly you can't travel through time through speed alone, only through techniques and machinery we've seen it. Because if that was the case, then we should have been able to easily do it. Because whenever Flash goes through time by his speed, he hasn't gone faster than what Whis has to go to the end of the universe. He can go faster than that, but he doesn't need to go that fast to go through time. But Whis' feat is even more impressive than the times he did go through time, yet he can't. Why? Well, clearly their universes, the way the laws of time and space work differently. In Dragon Ball, we've never seen anybody, no matter how fast they are, go through time just through sheer speed alone.
Countering instant transmission's similar ability from Heroes. And regarding teleporting him to a red star, ignoring the fact that Saiyans can't breathe in space, though Goku's certainly tough enough to withstand a vacuum, instant transmission requires another person to act as a beacon. He can't just warp to any red star.
Goku would never use that, first of all. That's punk shit. He wants to win through fighting. Second of all, Goku doesn't use his instant transmission like that in a fight anyway. When he uses it, he just uses it to get the drop on the opponent while he launches an attack. So that would be most likely what he would do. So it's right here. Greater martial arts mastery, more varied techniques, better mobility via instant transmission, limited ki energy. So does Superman. Ultra Instinct is similar to Theta State. No, it's not. I've gone in depth in that one too when there was the video about Superman versus Goku equal stats stating it's the same. The Theta State basically means that Superman doesn't have to think. Now his mind can fight on a psychic front. So if there's a psychic attack, his mind can separate from his body and fight off the psychic attack, while his body basically does what he would do normally. Whereas Ultra Instinct, what it basically does is, it kind of seems like that, but Ultra Instinct does Goku's movements without him having to think, making his movements faster, sharper, more accurate, and better timing, and his body not wasting energy doing random stuff. If he needs to dodge, it knows when to dodge, and it knows if it should counter or just purely dodge and stuff like that. So it's completely different. Superman, when he goes into Theta State, his physical body is still fighting how he normally does. But when Goku goes into Master Ultra Instinct, he's fighting far better than he ever does. He's fighting at the highest peak level of his speed and physicality as a whole. So that's completely different. Potential similar speeds, okay. Far greater strength. We're going based off their logic, which I don't agree. I don't agree with it. I do think Goku's power is higher from what we've seen through his feats and through scaling as a whole. But if we're using their logic, then yes, it will be higher. But I think that's a hyperbolic statement, so I would put Goku's strength higher than that. More experience. Well, what is the point of experience? The point of experience is to learn through technique and through how to fight, right? If you have a ton of experience, but it's because they're saying Goku's more of a better fighter. So if Superman has more experience in fighting, but Goku's a better fighter, why does that experience matter then? Clearly that experience is not helping him out in the fight if Goku is a better fighter than him. And Goku's fighting against beings that are way older than him. Hit had 1,000 years of assassin, fighting and assassinations. Goku was able to beat him. Goku was able to outpace him and stuff, even though Hit has 1,000 years. Beerus and stuff. Once again, sorry for coughing a lot. I'm really sick. Beerus and stuff. He's multiple millions of years old. Hundreds of millions of years old, right? Though Goku's not stronger than him and better than him, he has stated that Goku's a prodigy when it comes to fighting. So even he can acknowledge his ability and also his ability to grasp the technique of Ultra Instinct better than him, even though he's millions of years older than Goku. So if we just go based off of more time doing stuff, that doesn't really matter, because by that logic, then Hit shouldn't, struggle against Goku technique-wise. Goku was able to, in the Universe 6 versus 7 tournament, he was able to, outthink him and outmatch him through technique. And Beerus was able to acknowledge his, technical ability to the point where he was able to achieve something that he wasn't even able to do technical-wise. So that experience doesn't matter. Superior stamina via sunlight, yeah, I'll agree with that, but I don't think he has infinite. He does have a limit to how much he can absorb. Counters most of Goku's techniques. I guess you can say that, but I wouldn't say that. Limited martial arts mastery, okay. Theta state similar, no. Potential similar speed, okay.
Even if he did, Superman could simply fly away and find a blue or white star for a supercharge.
And Goku could not pull off the same trick twice, as Superman could phase through his attacks.
Okay, I want to talk about the other stuff I was going to say. They should have mentioned also their energy attacks. I know they use a lot of energy attacks. Talk about how fast their energy attacks are. I know they talked about the power, but how fast is Superman's heat vision? How fast is Goku's Kamehameha? So it's like, which technique is faster and stuff like that. They should have gone more into the durability. They talked more about that, output than the durability itself. But I think they touched upon it a little bit. This argument, though, is stupid. They're showcasing Superman phasing through Doomsday's punch, saying that he can just phase through his attacks. Yeah, like we've never seen Goku do this. We've never seen Goku throughout all of even Dragon Ball use the after image technique. What is the difference between this and the after image technique? It's like these guys never watched Dragon Ball or seen Dragon Ball. This is such a basic ass thing. We've seen this throughout countless animes where the character moves so fast that they phase through an attack. It's a common thing. Goku did it when Frieza was throwing his death saucers. It went through his body and Goku was literally right behind him. He's like, what are you doing? Goku used this against literally like Cell multiple times back to back. They went back to back with that technique. So Goku can do this too. It's not unique to Superman, and you don't even have to be faster than light to do this. Most characters that are faster than the speed of sound by a couple of times can do this. So I don't know what they mean. And he can't phase through every attack. Of the attack is too fast for his body because he needs to be able to react to it and then phase before they hit him. But if the attack is too fast and hits him, then he can't really do that. And like I said, this is a technique Goku can do, and he was able to do as a kid all the way back in Dragon Ball. So what's their point?
So, that's it then. Clark has too many counters, so he takes the edge in powers, and it's over.
So that was Death Battles Goku versus Superman. Pretty interesting. I think the fight looked nice. It looked clean. They were using the animation from the games. Goku's animation model was from Fighters, and Superman's one was from the Multiverse game. The Multiverse game, though, looked a little weird, but it's not their fault. That's basically how he was designed in that game, whereas the Fighters one obviously looks very good. It looks phenomenal. The next fight, Galactus versus Unicron, I think that's going to be pretty interesting, especially the Galactus thing. Unicron itself, I think, is going to win because Galactus, he has some impressive feats, but I think Unicron has shown more, high level feats. I don't know everything about him, but I do know that he's a universal threat and sometimes even beyond that. So I can't wait to see that one. I think that one's going to be pretty cool. But talking about that, like I said, there's a lot of things I disagreed with what they said in that fight itself. There was stuff that I touched upon, and I'm going to just look through it to see what else I want to talk about that they showcased in this death battle. So like I said, the strength thingy, it's really weird because the feat that they use, the statement they use for the size of the universe itself, I think is a little wonky. I don't agree with it, but like I said, if we go with that, then yes, he went strength category. The speed category, yes, Superman has shown better speed feats, but that's through travel speed, combat speed. I have never seen a feat that he's done that is really that impressive compared to what he's done in his speed, and it is an equivalent. I don't think he has anywhere near that close to level of speed when it comes to combat. So we're looking through the travel speed, Superman wins, combat speed, Goku wins, but combat's what really matters. Then skill, definitely Goku wins. I know a lot of people are going to say Superman has this and that. He's definitely more skilled than a lot of people think, but not as skilled as Goku. And even with those skilled abilities, he rarely, if ever, shows it. Unlike Goku, Goku showcases varieties of attacks and how he uses it. So I think they were fair in that assessment. The experience, though, I disagree. Because like I said, Superman is kind of like a fighter with a padded out record where he has a lot of fights under his belt, but they're against kind of like fodder. Whereas Goku might have a smaller one, but he has more opponents that were stronger than him, so he's fought against oppositions that were higher in power than him, and usually guys that have more skill and technique than what Superman fought against. So Superman is more of a case of quantity over quality type of thing. So I think Goku would win that, because they even stated that Goku's still a better fighter, so it's like, what's the point of having all that experience of you're going to be less of a fighter? Then powers, they were showcasing all of Goku's abilities, saying Superman can pass it. Superman can negate, existence erasure. Like I said, just because he can stop, Galactus's Omega beams from racing him, that doesn't mean existence erasure doesn't work on him. Just to that level of power of existence erasure doesn't work. Because if we use that logic, then we will say Frieza is also the case, because we had a similar situation with him. But even if we take that out, I think Goku's martial arts techniques itself would be decent enough to do damage to Superman and stuff. Them stating that he could just phase through the attacks, like I stated, I don't know why they try to, showcase that as something as impressive when Goku's done that before. He's done this in Dragon, all the way back in Dragon Ball as a kid. That's not really that impressive. So there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with this death battle. I know I'm gonna have a lot of disagreements with you fans in the comment section. You're saying no, he did destroy that multiverse. No, when I read it, since he knocked Forager out of his focus, it basically ended up destroying the multiverse. So I don't think he did that. The universal thing, I don't think the universe is that big, so it isn't as impressive. But even with that, the power going into him, they're making it sound like all their energy was the total sum of the amount of energy it takes to equivalent to the universe itself, more so than that's just the amount of energy that he needs so he can reset it himself. And like I said, if people keep on using that whole he's this powerful, he's beyond sixth dimension and stuff like that because he did it, why don't you have other feats and cases that he did this? How come all these other instances where there's these big threats, universal, multiversal level threats, Superman hasn't been able to beat it and needed the whole team, and still then they don't beat it easily? How come the Emperor Joker storyline where he had Mixius power, which he's below the sixth dimension, he even stated he couldn't even breach into it, couldn't do it? I think that's more of an inconsistency, that feat, or that feat is just not as impressive as we might think it is. I think World Forger's powers and abilities are not as concrete and as direct as he can create universes, so that means he's equivalent to that or above that. Even though he is a higher dimensional being, it's a little confusing and wonky because, like I said, if you go through logic, he should have been able to beat Antimatter by himself. He should have been able to stop, True Form Darkseid from falling down by himself. He should have been able to beat Mixius Spitalik countless times before. He should have been able to stop Emperor Joker. He should have been able to stop Imperialax by himself. He should have been able to, stop multiple other forces and threats like that. And then the portal thing being beyond space and time, he was able to create a wormhole, which basically, messes with space-time and then goes through it. It's basically like teleporting, but just opening up a dimensional rift and then going through that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff I disagreed with in this death battle, but I think it was a pretty decent one. I don't really have any animosity towards it. I just think that some of the arguments were a little wonky. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.